Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to Tech Curiosity Stream. We dive deep into the tech that's shaping our world. Do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button down below. Today we're talking about something called synthetic data. In simple terms, synthetic data is information that's artificially manufactured rather than being generated by real-world events. The need for massive amounts of data is exploding, especially for training artificial intelligence. This is where synthetic data steps onto the stage and completely changes the game. Imagine being able to create a perfect data set to train an AI for a very specific task, tailored exactly to your needs. You might be wondering if this is just some niche, high-level tech concept that only data scientists in a lab somewhere need to care about. But the truth is, the rise of synthetic data is going to have a ripple effect that touches almost every piece of technology you use. It's one of those behind-the-scenes innovations that will quietly power the next wave of technological advancement. From the apps on your phone to the future of healthcare, synthetic data is becoming a critical ingredient. It's the secret sauce that will help make AI smarter, more reliable, and more accessible to everyone, not just the tech giants. Think about the world of autonomous vehicles for a second. For a self-driving car to learn how to navigate a tricky intersection safely, it needs to experience that scenario thousands, if not millions of times. Waiting for that to happen in the real world would take forever, and would be incredibly dangerous. But with synthetic data, engineers can create a virtual world where they can simulate that intersection in every possible weather condition, at every time of day, with all sorts of unexpected events. This allows the car's AI to learn and adapt in a safe, controlled environment, making the technology much safer before it ever hits a real street. The implications for healthcare are just as massive and potentially life-changing. Medical data is some of the most sensitive and protected information on the planet for very good reason. This makes it extremely difficult for researchers to get the large data sets they need to train AI models that can detect diseases like cancer from medical scans. Synthetic data offers a way around this. Scientists can generate artificial medical images that have all the characteristics of real ones but are completely anonymous. This means they can share data and collaborate on a global scale without ever compromising a single patient's privacy, accelerating medical breakthroughs. So, in this video, we're going to pull back the curtain on this revolutionary technology. We'll explore exactly what it is, how it's made, and why it's becoming so essential. We'll look at the pros and cons, the real-world applications that are already here, and what the future holds. This isn't just a trend, it's a fundamental shift in how we approach data, innovation, and problem-solving in the digital age. By the end of this, you'll understand why synthetic data isn't just some buzzword. It's a technology that is quietly set to change absolutely everything. Let's get into it. So, what is synthetic data? It's information generated by a computer algorithm, not from the real world. Think of it as a photorealistic painting, not a photograph. It shares the same statistical properties as real data, like customer transactions. Algorithms study real data to generate new data that follows the same rules. This is useful for testing software, training AI models, or conducting research when real data is too sensitive or insufficient. Synthetic data lets you generate millions of realistic examples. It's a powerful tool for creating an alternative to real-world data. It's easy to dismiss synthetic data as fake, but that's not the right way to think about it. A better term might be digital twin or statistical proxy. Think about crash test dummies. They simulate how a real human body would react in a car crash, providing engineers with critical data to build safer cars. Synthetic data serves a similar purpose in the digital world. It's a safe and ethical stand-in for real data, allowing us to test and train our systems. It's created to be a tool for development and analysis, often protecting privacy. It's a way to unlock the value of data while building a stronger wall around personal privacy. What are the practical differences between real-world and computer-generated data? The most obvious difference is the origin. Real data comes from direct observation, like a camera or sensor. Synthetic data originates from an algorithm, giving it unique advantages, especially for privacy. Another key difference is control and scalability. Synthetic data can be generated on demand, allowing for balanced data sets. Cost and speed are also major factors. Synthetic data is often faster and cheaper to produce. Real-world data can be messy, while synthetic data can be perfectly clean, giving developers more control. Synthetic data starts with real-world data as its blueprint. The model studies this data to learn patterns, relationships, and rules, like an artist learning what makes a forest before painting one. It's not about copying, but understanding the essence. This foundation is crucial. Without it, synthetic data would be meaningless noise. However, any bias in the original data can be inherited, so data scientists must address this during generation. Once the model understands the patterns, it's ready to generate new, realistic data that follows the learned rules. The process moves from learning to creating, manufacturing data that's new but true to its source. Generative AI powers today's synthetic data revolution with GANs and VAEs leading the way. GANs use two neural networks, a generator that creates data, and a discriminator that tries to spot fakes. Through a game of cat and mouse, the generator improves until its data is nearly indistinguishable from real data. VAEs, on the other hand, compress data into a simple form and then reconstruct it, learning the essential features. This lets VAEs generate new structured data with control and stability. GANs excel at hyper-realistic images. VAEs are great for structured tabular data. Both methods allow us to create convincing, useful synthetic datasets. These tools are the engines behind modern data creation. Synthetic data isn't just about AI. Simulations and procedural generation are powerful alternatives. When system rules are well understood, we can simulate environments or use algorithms to generate data directly. For example, self-driving cars can be trained in virtual cities, creating perfectly labeled, diverse datasets. Simulations allow for safe creation of rare, dangerous scenarios, impossible to capture in real life. Procedural generation uses rules and randomness to create realistic data like synthetic bank transactions. These methods offer control, flexibility, and safety, especially in engineering and science. They build data from the ground up, not just by learning from existing datasets. Simulations and procedural tools are essential in the synthetic data toolbox. The biggest advantage of synthetic data is privacy. Real data is sensitive and protected by strict laws, making sharing and innovation difficult. Synthetic data mimics real patterns but contains no personal information, enabling safe collaboration. Hospitals, for example, can share synthetic patient data to develop AI tools without risking privacy. Researchers worldwide can now combine knowledge using synthetic datasets, bypassing legal barriers. This unlocks innovation and scientific progress while keeping individuals safe. Synthetic data is a privacy shield, fueling breakthroughs without ethical compromise. Synthetic data solves the problem of data scarcity and missing edge cases. Real datasets often lack rare but critical scenarios, like a deer jumping onto a highway at night. With synthetic data, engineers can create thousands of these events in simulations, training AI safely and thoroughly. It also helps fix bias. Developers can generate balanced datasets across all demographics, making AI fairer. If data is missing or unbalanced, synthetic data fills the gaps. It lets us actively create the perfect dataset for any need, not just accept what reality provides. This shifts us from passive data collection to active data creation. Synthetic data empowers us to teach AI every lesson it needs to succeed. Beyond privacy and data quality, there's a very practical business reason why synthetic data is exploding in popularity. It dramatically saves time and money. Collecting and preparing real-world data is honestly one of the most expensive and time-consuming parts of any machine learning project. It can involve deploying physical sensors, conducting surveys, and most labor-intensively, manually labeling the data. For example, to train an object detection model, a human has to sit down and draw boxes around thousands of images identifying every car, pedestrian, and traffic sign. This process can take months and cost a fortune, creating a massive bottleneck for innovation. Synthetic data generation, though, flips this entire equation on its head. Once you have a generative model or a simulation environment set up, you can create a massive, perfectly labeled dataset in a fraction of the time and at a fraction of the cost. In a simulated environment, the system already knows what every single pixel is. It knows that this group of pixels is a tree and that one is a car because it put them there. This means the data is generated with perfect labels automatically. What might have taken a team of humans months to label can now be generated by a computer overnight. This is a massive acceleration. This acceleration has a democratizing effect on the world of AI development. In the past, only the biggest tech giants with deep pockets could afford to build the massive, hand-labeled data sets required for cutting-edge AI. This created a huge barrier to entry for smaller companies, startups, and academic researchers. Synthetic data levels the playing field. It makes high-quality, large-scale data accessible to everyone. A small startup with a brilliant idea for a new app can now generate the training data it needs without needing millions of dollars in funding for data collection, fostering a more competitive and innovative tech landscape for all of us. This combination of speed and cost efficiency means that development cycles get drastically shorter. Engineers can now experiment and iterate much more quickly. If a model isn't performing well, they can go back, tweak the parameters of their data generator, and create a new, improved dataset in hours, not months. This ability to fail fast and learn quickly is the engine of technological progress. By removing the biggest bottleneck, the slow and expensive process of acquiring real-world synthetic data is pouring gasoline on the fire of innovation, allowing us to build, test, and deploy new technologies faster than ever before. So, synthetic data is powerful, but how does it compare to real-world data? Let's pit them head-to-head. Real data is authentic, capturing the messiness of reality. Synthetic data offers flexibility and control. You can generate it on demand, tailored to your needs, ensuring anonymity. Real data can be expensive and slow to acquire, riddled with imperfections and privacy concerns. Synthetic data's weakness is that it's only as good as the model and data it learned from. An AI trained solely on synthetic data might struggle with real-world chaos. Synthetic data isn't a universal replacement for real data. Real-world data is essential for final validation and testing. You must test in the real world. Real data contains the unknown unknowns, bizarre events simulations wouldn't create, like a flock of birds or a person in a banana costume. Synthetic data is for training. Real data proves performance. Real data is also king in exploratory analysis, especially when discovering something new. True discovery comes from sifting through raw data. Finally, in high-stakes applications, real data is non-negotiable. You need the real transaction logs, not a fake version. There's no substitute for the real deal. This isn't a competition. The most powerful approach is using real and synthetic data together. They are partners. Each has unique strengths that cover the weaknesses of the other. When you combine them, you get the best of both worlds. It's about creating a hybrid strategy. Synthetic data isn't here to make real data obsolete, it's here to supercharge it. By combining the two, we can build smarter, safer, and more equitable AI systems. So, let's break it down and get straight to the point. The most significant advantage is the enhancement of privacy. Next up is the sheer speed and cost-effectiveness. Synthetic data blows past this hurdle. Another huge pro is the absolute control it gives to developers. With synthetic data, you are the architect. Finally, synthetic data unlocks possibilities that were previously just out of reach. This opens up new frontiers for scientific discovery and technological innovation, pushing the boundaries of what is possible. Using synthetic data comes with significant challenges and potential pitfalls. The most critical one, garbage in, garbage out. If the initial data is biased or incomplete, the synthetic data will inherit and amplify those flaws. Ensuring synthetic data represents reality is another challenge. AI might perform well in tests but fail in the real world. Bridging the gap between simulation and reality remains a hurdle. It requires expertise in statistics, machine learning, and the specific domain. Poorly done synthetic data can be harmful. Lastly, there's a potential for misuse that we can't ignore. We must develop ethical guidelines and regulations to ensure responsible use. What does the future of synthetic data look like? We are at the very beginning of a massive shift, and synthetic data is poised to become the go-to solution. Imagine a future where you can describe the exact data you need and have a perfectly labeled dataset generated in minutes. This will spark innovation because the biggest barrier, access to data, will be removed. Future models will generate entire dynamic interactive environments like a simulated city to train autonomous systems. It will be the bedrock upon which smarter AI and safer transportation are built. We are at the start of a data gold rush, and synthetic data is the technology that will supply the picks and shovels. The future of synthetic data extends far beyond AI training. We're going to see synthetic data become a product. Companies will design and sell specialized premium synthetic datasets. Imagine medical research institutions licensing accurate synthetic datasets to pharmaceutical companies and universities. This turns data creation into a valuable discipline. In the future, companies will use realistic synthetic data to create compelling demos. Another application is in creative arts and entertainment. This will evolve into generating entire virtual worlds and unique storylines. Governments and organizations will use synthetic data to simulate economies. Policymakers can test outcomes in a virtual environment before real-world implementation. So, we've covered the what, the why, and the how of synthetic data, from its advantages in privacy and cost, to the challenges of bias and quality. It's clear that this isn't a niche topic for data scientists anymore. It's a foundational technology that will underpin so many of the future innovations that will shape our daily lives. The next time you see a headline about a breakthrough in AI, robotics, or medical research, there's a very good chance that synthetic data played a crucial, behind-the-scenes role. It's the secret ingredient that's making the impossible possible, and we are only just scratching the surface of its potential to change our world for the better. I hope this video has helped pull back the curtain on this fascinating subject and given you a new perspective on the data that powers our world. The key takeaway is that our ability to innovate is no longer just limited by the data we can find, but is expanding to be limited only by our ability to imagine and create the data we need. This is a profound shift in our relationship with information. If you found this video interesting, or learned something new, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that thumbs up button and share it with someone who might also be curious about the future of tech. It helps the channel more than you know, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. We're always exploring the most exciting and important trends in technology, breaking them down to see how they're going to affect all of us in the real world. We love having this community of curious minds, and your support is what allows us to keep making these deep dives. I'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What applications of synthetic data are you most excited or concerned about? Let's get a conversation going. Thank you so much for hanging out and spending some time with us here at Tech Curiosity Stream. The world of technology is always moving, always evolving, and staying informed is the best way to be ready for what's next. We've got a lot more exciting topics coming your way very soon. See you in the next video. Until then, stay curious.